Welcome to the Infill Podcast, where we interview the most interesting members of the 3D printing and maker communities, live and with audience participation. And now, here is your host, Jonathan Levy.
Greetings. Welcome, everyone. We are gearing up for a really great episode today. Before we get started, though, we're going to have our every single week starting section, which is called the Octo Everywhere What's Printing Jonathan session. But this week I thought we would do it a little bit differently, and instead of me showing you all the printers that are printing, I want to show you guys one of my favorite features of Octo Everywhere, and that is the ability, if I don't have something already printing, to just fire it off and print it right from the studio, or right from Orca Slicer, sorry. So check this out. I can just go here, I can go to any one of my printers, and what happens is I have it set up in Orca Slicer just like this. You can do this in any slicer. And I have it as if it's the IP address. And then what happens is not only can I just hit print and directly print to it as if I were in the same room with the printer, but I can also use the device tab. I'm going to have a video coming up pretty soon where I say to pretty much every manufacturer, this is what we need. We want it in the device tab of Orca Slicer. This printer, by the way, is not at the same physical location as me, and I can just behave like it is. So thanks to Octo Everywhere for being the sponsor of the first part of this episode. And now let's talk about today's guest. So today I am joined by Bruno. Hi, Bruno. Bruno
how's it going?
Co-founder of STLFLIX, one of the largest repositories of premium models for 3D printing. Great to meet you, Bruno.
Nice to meet you, man. Thank you very much for having me in your podcast.
It is my pleasure. And guys, let us know. I have a feeling my audio levels are much higher than Bruno's, but let us know in the comments below how the audio is. So, Bruno, first and foremost, tell us a little bit about yourself. Where are you based? How did you get into 3D printing? Fill us in.
All right. So I'm an industrial designer from Brazil. So I always had a 3D printer. I bought my first 3D printer when I was still in university. That was back in 2013. So it was one of those like industrialized rep projects. It was a rep that they manufactured, but then kind of sold it. Still using pretty much the open source project. And then I kept printing. I really enjoyed the hobby. Being an industrial designer myself, I used to design my own things and print it. And then I graduated, started to work in the industry. I worked at the home appliance industry for a while. And then after some time, I was still with my 3D printer, still creating things at home. I decided I wanted to try to sell the stuff that I was printing.
Cool.
And then I just posted on my Instagram. That was 2017, I guess. And I started to get a few orders out of those models that I have designed. It was a few planters that I used to print in vase mold using 0.6 millimeter nozzle. So it was very cool. I started to get a few requests, a few purchases from family and friends. I've started my own website, but that was all of that was happening while I still had a job. I was still working 9 to 5 house, and then I had this thing as my side hustle. And then things started to pick up from there. I've created a brand for it, my own Instagram for that. Started to do some more, created my own e-commerce, started to take it more serious. And then at one point we released a collection of planters they got pretty popular in the 3D printing community because a lot of people did their versions of it. But it was like this figurine that had the vase in the head.
Okay.
And I started I've designed a few of those, and they got super popular. They were part of the decoration of the Big Brother Brazil, which is the biggest reality TV show. So I started to sell a lot, but the more I was selling of those models. Then I became full-time working with 3D printing. I left my job. And the more I was selling these planters, more people were copying my products. So people were getting groups, getting into these communities, and they would upload an image of my model and say, hey, let's hire someone to design this for us. And I would see that they were paying like $100, $200 for a single model. That's when I thought, perhaps like my biggest role in the community, since people were selling and they were selling even better than I was, is to create the files rather than sell the printed products. So this is where the
Really cool.
idea, the spark of STLFlix came. It was mostly because they were kind of gathering inspiration from my designs, hiring people to eventually design things that were knockoffs of what I was designing. So
That's really
uh,
cool. It reminds me, I mean,
yeah,
it's a great entrepreneurial lesson about like listen to the market because, you know, someone who wasn't thinking like an entrepreneur would have been like, "Well, I'm going to go after these guys and stop them." And you're like, "No, join them." And it reminds me of, you know, when PayPal started out, PayPal ultimately would be bought by eBay, but when they started out, they did not want people using it on eBay. They wanted it for friends and family.
uh-huh.
And for like a half a second, they were like, people are using this to send money out to other people on eBay. Like, do we shut this down? And they were thinking about shutting it down. Then they're like, no, this could be cool. So there's an entrepreneurial lesson there, which is like, don't fight what the customer's doing. If it's not what you want them to do, just find a way to, you know, serve that
Yeah,
customer.
exactly. And what I was like, the more I was seeing these things, I was like, no, perhaps there's something bigger happening in here, because I think everybody that works in the 3D printing space, we all had like this deep dream of like making 3D printers become a new thing, become an appliance that you have in your
Hmm.
home that the majority of houses will have. So at one point, I was like, perhaps I'm fighting a trend here that will be much bigger, and I won't be able to fight at all. So perhaps there's a gap here where I can kind of come in first. When we started STLFlix was the project of STLFlix. It was launched in 2022.
Hmm.
Um, so we're almost 3 years old, but the project started like the second semester of 2021, in the middle of the
Okay.
pandemic. Um, and we were still in that era of like, we don't know if 3D printing is going to be a thing. Printers were complex, but it was certainly like moving towards this trend of getting easier and easier. And I think we when we got in, the only places where you could find some stuff, we had a few patrons, people that were starting out, but they were very small. And my mini factory was already kind of big.
Mm.
Things did not existed. Um, so the whole selling STLs was still like in a very early stage of things. So it was really a bet, because I had a business that was running on one format, but I was seeing that perhaps the trend was going to shift somewhere else. So I decided to take the leap and go for this other model.
Very interesting. Now, before we hit record, you told me nothing's off limits, but tell me if you change your mind. I would love to know how many like give us the stats of STLFlix. How many employees? How many models are there? How many new models added every month? How many downloads? How many members? Like, give me some of the high
Awesome.
level stats for folks who haven't heard, because I think you guys are pretty big.
Yeah, we're not a corporation. So like, a lot of people see us from the outside and think we are a big corp, even though I wish that's not true yet. Uh, but we have over 2,500 models on our platform,
Wow.
and we have a lot of different kind of stuff. Our objective since the beginning was to like try to be the broadest that we can with premium STLs. So we're not going to do things that you could easily find on a Thingiverse, something that it's very functional, not that
Mm-hmm.
complex. We want to try to do something that has some added value to it. But we do have a lot of articulated models. We have a lot of gaming accessories, gadgets, all these kinds of things that we can aggregate a lot of value to it, and create an STL that is really different and has this sense of uniqueness to it as well. So together
Yeah.
with the STLs, we also have the media kit for those who are commercial subscribers. So we
Right.
don't do anything with IP. So everything that we have on our platform, you can explore commercially. So we do have the commercial license as well. For those who have the commercial license, we have the media kit with photos and videos. I think I can show you, like, I'm at the studio, people are photographing, so we
Oh,
have like
cool.
a setting here where we photograph everything. We do
Really cool.
high
And those
quality
photos
videos of
basically
it.
people can use to sell the products themselves.
Yeah, to promote their store or the products. Like, it can be
Hmm.
either way, being a commercial subscriber, obviously.
Right.
And then inside STLFlix, we also have an e-commerce builder. So we have the STLFlix My Store. They can build your own e-commerce with all the
Oh,
catalog of
wow.
STLFlix, and you can include more stuff in case you have things that are not from STLFlix. Naturally, you want to sell it as well on your e-commerce, so you can add those to the STLFlix My Store as well. Uh, but yeah, that's roughly where we are in terms of big numbers. We have our team have gone over 100 people this week. So
Oh my
we're
gosh. Wow.
yeah, yeah, we are
That's
in
amazing.
Brazil. So
Congratulations.
the cost of labor is cheaper here compared to the US, right? So it's
Sure.
being in the 100 employee mark in Brazil is kind of it's easier in terms of revenue that you need to have
Sure.
than if you were in the US or in Europe, right? But yeah, we're also investing on a few new products that is still early to say, but this is where
Very
we are
cool.
in terms of team at the moment.
Okay, we have a lot of questions in chat. Chat was very sleepy, and then they woke up when they figured out what STLFlix is. And for Ghost Wolf, who's asking, yes, STLFlix is like Netflix for 3D printing. It's like an all-you-can-eat model service. They have a commercial plan. They have a consumer plan. Someone wanted to know, I mean, before you said 100 employees, are all the models designed by employees, freelancers, independent designers? It sounds like with 100 people, you have a lot of in-house designers.
We do. We have almost 50 designers. So like half of the
Wow.
team is designers because we have this sort of journey, sort of process, right, to come up with the STL. So it all starts with we have three teams that only research. So each team is focused on because we have 3 drops a week, right? So every team is researching 1 drop because so they have more time to look at things, be careful when analyzing, actually getting into trends of what people can sell, trends of what people wanted to print. So we have this research team that is divided in 3 teams. Then we have the 3D artist team, which is divided in 4 different teams.
Wow.
And then we have the model shop team, which comes in and analyzes the models, see if they're working fine, requests for adjustments before they get launched. We print everything, we tried everything, we assemble everything, we photograph everything. Then there's the video team, and also the marketing team that finalizes everything.
Really incredible. It's
So
incredible how
it's
you
an
guys
STL
have.
factory from top to bottom.
Yeah, I'm just imagining it's so cool how you guys have scaled up creativity and artistry, because you can, it's one thing to say, yeah, it's engineering parts, but a lot of your stuff is creative designs, as you said, not strictly super functional, but a lot of fun parts that people can sell. And you guys have kind of scaled up creativity, right? Like researching and
Yeah.
finding the best. I'm curious what softwares, plural, your team uses to design all these models.
So for the technical parts, it's mostly Fusion 360,
Hmm.
very basic. We also have a Fusion 360 course inside our STL Academy.
Oh, cool.
Um, yeah, and for the more artistic part, like the sculpture part, it's all ZBrush. We're also creating a ZBrush course, which will be launched soon as well.
Really cool.
So yeah, so we have. I see that some people from our support channel are in the chat as well. I think Jonathan's gonna help me out with some of the answers.
Very, very
But yeah,
cool.
we and this I think it's one of our differentiators because in house we do have people that are very driven towards the technical part of the project, the mechanism, the assembly, the
Hmm.
articulation, the joints. But then that rough model that we call the base mesh goes toward the 3D artist team, and then they added that base mesh without compromising the details that need to be there, the tolerances, the spaces, and all of that. So we are able to combine that very technical design, which is hard to get, with that
Yeah,
sculpting design, which is also hard to get, and they're sort of like 2 different skills that is very hard to match on a single artist, right? So by having like these 2 stage process, we're able to guarantee that we have the technical how can I say, the technical requirements there, but also the sculpting quality that needs to be there as well. That's what makes 3D printing cool in the end of the day, because you can get really
totally.
cool details, and you can go really crazy and all of that in
Very,
the
very
shape.
cool. So every question you answer, I have two more, which is always good for conversation. Um,
Nice.
I'm curious, you threw out a sentence, we don't do anything with IP. And I've
Mhm.
noticed, because you guys are a company, even if you're not a mega corporation, I've noticed, you guys obviously don't do any Marvel or any kind of none of
No.
that. And I wonder, is that a long-term goal of yours to be able to work with someone like a Marvel and license their IP, or are you guys very happy to create your own stuff forever?
I think if we ever get that opportunity, we would try to do something like that. I wouldn't get it off the table. At the
Sure.
moment, we're not negotiating or trying anything.
Hmm.
So if it happens in the near future, it's still not something that we're
Yeah.
actively seeking. Well, we tried it before, we got a no, and we ceased to try it. So at the
Hmm.
moment, we don't have any projects in that sense. But if we ever do, I want it to be like, well, because we always think about like the consensus between me and my co-founder is that we fear that this is the risk of ruining everything. Imagine you have a catalog that is 80% Marvel, and I know there's a lot of creators out there that do
Mm.
that. I'm not doing any judgments on that. It's just that on our way of thinking, we feel that this is a big risk that eventually our business can like shut down if eventually Marvel comes in or Disney comes in and say, "Hey guys, you need to take all of these models off," and then you have nothing in your catalog anymore. So we don't want to risk doing that. It would be much easier, I gotta say to you, if we did that path. I think we would be much bigger today. I think we would have much broader audience. So it was not an easy thing to do to opt to go outside of the IP, but I think it was not worth the risk at all.
Yeah, it's interesting that you bring up that risk. I had thought of the risk of obviously lawsuits and IP infringement.
Again, yeah.
Um, Also that, but the idea of like losing the creative soul. I mean, I know again, we don't want to throw shade because everyone has their own way of doing things, but I know, as you said, there are some other websites like Nico Industries that have focused solely in on like, hey, we're gonna do Star Wars or we're gonna
Exactly.
do and that's interesting, but you're right. They do get kind of pigeonholed into this is where I go for, Galactic Armory or whatever.
Yeah.
Um, I think that's really, really interesting.
But we do like what we try to do is like get these like big how can I say, like these big ideas behind things. So like we do Viking stuff, we do like
Hmm.
sci-fi stuff. We try to be like in the broader picture rather than the IP. And I think it's also interesting in that way because you can do like, for example, Greek mythology or even like Scandinavian mythology, and you would do like Thor, you would do like the gods and
True.
all of that, and all that is like free of IP, and you can be more creative and
True.
you can explore more things than actually reproducing what Disney does, right? If you were to do a model that is 100% a Disney replica, they need to approve the model as well. So there's also a little bit of that creativity constraint that you get,
Right.
but there's
That's a
still
fair
like the
point.
benefit of having something that is like actually from the character, right? Which a lot of people appreciate.
Right. Who are some designers that you guys, I mean, we talked now about Nico and Galactic. I've got a Fotis Mint on my desk right now. And I'm
Yeah.
curious, who are the other designers? We don't want to throw shade on anyone, but who are the designers that you and your team look up to and say, like, guys, look what they're doing. That's super inspiring.
No, we have a lot of people that we admire in here, and we actually collaborated with quite a few people that we admire.
Very
So
cool.
I didn't answer that, but in STLFlix we don't have models exclusively from STLFlix, right? We do have models from other creators, smaller creators,
Hmm.
that we license to have those models inside our platform, and we
Okay.
license them to be commercial license for our commercial subscribers. So all of that is in the agreement. But we get inspiration for a lot of people. I really like Forge Core's work, Lofted Goods work. Um, from I really like Holo Props works. I have a few Box Cool. I think he's a very talented designer as well. Saying the handles because it gets it easier than the actual names of these people.
Yeah.
One that I really like is 3D Print Bunny. We did a
Oh, yeah.
collection in partnership with her,
She's
with Natalie.
incredible.
She is incredible, and the way that she uses the features of the 3D printer to come up with the effects on the model, I think this is brilliant.
And she
And I got
designs
to meet her
everything
last
in
year.
Tinkercad, I'm pretty sure.
Oh yeah,
Yeah.
the collection we did with her was all of that string technique that she created.
Hmm.
Um, so she like taught us how to do the string technique, and we applied to our way of doing
So
the
cool.
models. It was really cool.
So cool. Chino asks, how can you become a maker on STLFlix if you want to sell your models?
Well, if you want to sell the models to us to make it available on our platform.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess you can shoot an email to info@stlflix.com with your work, and we might be interested. Yeah, we're always purchasing content to put on to like go together with the content they create in house. So it's
Very
interesting.
cool. What's the biggest challenge that you guys face as a business? Because clearly it's not creativity.
Well, creativity, the whole like creating the structure that is able to deliver all that was very tough, and it consumed a lot of time, I think, and we're not never at the point where we are like, okay, this is done. So we're
Mm-hmm.
always like trying to improve the process or the methods or the way of doing things. So that took us a lot. It took us a lot of time and thinking and a lot of mistakes as well to get to the process that we have today. But right now, and one of the biggest, actually two, I think the biggest challenges that we have. The first one, when we first started, as I said, people were not really convinced that premium STLs had value.
Mm-hmm.
So it was more of a convincing people that it was worth paying for the STL, which is something that I find it really curious because people, they purchase the machine, they purchase
Right.
the filament, and then like the art that combines it all into what you're actually making it tangible, it's not worth paying for, and that's kind of
And the firmware
that
that
was kind of
runs
weird
it
at
as
first.
well blows my
Yeah,
mind, you know?
and I think we've gone through that step for the most
Yeah.
of it. I think people are convinced now that it's actually worth it, that people that are working to create these models, they deserve to be compensated for that.
Right.
That it's also a work, a job. Like you cannot pay your electricity bills in likes or shares of your prints.
Right.
um, and then the second one is still piracy. I think piracy is a big deal that
Yeah.
everybody's trying to solve in the creator industry. Even Joel Telling made a video about it recently.
Yep.
Um, and I think there is no answer yet to it. Like, how can we? Because 3D printing comes from that all open world space
Right.
where everybody was open source, and freely shared. um, and I understand that. I appreciate that a lot. I think that helped us to get to the point where we are today. But I think there's gotta be like a commitment level where, well, this is also like the way I pay for my living, so I need
Right.
to be compensated for that. So I think when people are pirating the models, they are doing something really bad for the evolution of the community as well, in terms of
Yeah.
how good the models can get, how many models we have available to print. So I think all of that is still a big challenge for us.
Yeah, and I just wonder if that's a challenge that even can be solved, right? Because we're talking
Yeah.
about independent designers. I mean, if you ask Sony or Warner Brothers, like, what's your biggest problem right now? It's piracy as well. And these are mega
Well, there's a
corporations with
possibility.
thousands of lawyers and infinite resources, and they're still struggling with it. So I wonder, you know, you guys are relatively large in the space, but an independent designer like Fotis Mint, like, how do they defend themselves against piracy? I think it's more of a cultural thing than a technological or legal solution.
Yeah, absolutely. And then we see things um like those initiatives on making it harder for you to, like, Bamboo did the latest firmware release where everybody
Mhm.
got really suspicious about it. The fact that they wouldn't allow you to share your models coming from other places. um I understand why it's bad, why people don't want it. I want to use my own slice. I like to use Orca Slicer as well. I'm
Right.
working on a video to get your filament settings
Yep.
done, and I use Orca Slicer for that. So I want to be able to send my prints through Orca Slicer. But if there was a way that someone had access to my STL, but they could not save it on their computer, they could just like work inside that slicer and then send it to the
Right.
printer, but I cannot share that with someone else, then I think it would be a way to do that. I'm not sure that the manufacturers are particularly interested in protecting
Yeah.
the creators, because what they want is like people to have easy access to the files.
Yeah.
So I
I
think
also,
there's a
like,
little bit of a
DRM exists in music and movies and video games, and people always bypass it. I can say, like, I have in my last business, I had online courses and books. I've written 3 books, 12 online courses, like so many things. Usually within a month, all my stuff was pirated. And it's like you
Yeah.
invest in all these, piracy solutions, and none of it. Ultimately, it's like, you ask the police and they'll say, like, doesn't matter what lock you have on your front door. If someone wants to get in, they're gonna get in, right?
Yeah.
It's just a matter of making it slightly inconvenient. Like, a police officer once told me, locks keep honest people out. It's like, great. So
That's
that's
a
why I
great
say, I mean,
thing.
I don't want to be pessimistic, right? But I don't know. The movie industry hasn't managed to technically stop piracy.
Yeah. What we have on our platform already is like every model we can identify who downloaded that model. So when a model leaks, we
Hmm.
know which user it was that leaked it, and we delete
Wow.
it from our database, and that is in our terms of agreement. So
That's really
uh,
smart. So
yeah,
each
so it's a
STL,
reactive way of doing it.
that's interesting. I'm sure you don't want to get into technically how that works, but I guess you're putting some kind of fingerprint on every single STL that's downloaded.
Yeah, I'm not want to get into. I don't want to get into that's
Sure.
perhaps is a little bit out of limits because it's our protection.
Sure,
But this is
sure.
what
But then
we have.
I assume that the user can't see that or figure it out. Or even if they can figure
No,
out, they can't change it without corrupting the file.
exactly.
Got it.
Yeah, something along
That's
those lines.
interesting.
Yeah, but that's still like a reactive way of doing it, right? The
Sure.
people will leak it first, and then we will see that it got leaked. It's not
Right.
a proactive way of doing it that you cannot have access to the file. But and I think like eventually, if we are able to do that, that people will be mad that they don't have access
Right.
to the file. I think they want to have access to the file, so it's a tricky situation to be in.
Yeah, I used to do this thing with my courses. Again, it was a game of whack-a-mole. But I would serve, like, okay, fine, you pirated the course, but there'd be so many resources like downloads, and
Uh
I
huh.
know you
Yeah.
guys give instruction guides and stuff. And what I
Yeah.
would do is I would change the links every month. So like the PDF wouldn't render properly. So it's like if you downloaded
That's a
the
good idea as well.
authentic copy, even if you, by the way, and the problem is then you end up annoying real customers, because it's like if someone
Exactly.
downloaded my course and then they waited 2 weeks to open it, it's like, sorry, you need to re-download it because we've changed everything. It's frustrating. Let's take a quick moment and thank this episode's sponsor, which is PCBWay, and I'll tell you a little bit about them. PCBWay, as you guys know, is your one-stop shop for all the things. You could, for example, say you find an awesome model on STLFLIX and you want to have it printed in resin, or maybe tool steel. Why not, right? They could do that for you, but they could also do the PCBs if you wanted to customize that model. They could do injection molding for you. I recently used them for some CNC machining of just basic sheet metal plates, and the prices were really, really great. Turnaround was really, really fast. So check them out. You get $5 off your first order with the link in the description, and tell them I sent you. And thanks to PCBWay for sponsoring so many of these podcast episodes. Uh, what's a big goal for you guys right now in the business in terms of improvement? Like where are the areas that you guys feel that you could be doing more or doing better?
So I think we want to be at a point where it's going to make so much sense for you to be a subscriber that it's not worth not to be a subscriber. That's where we want to
Right.
be. So we launched already the filaments, right? And the filament, when you go on, inside our platform, every model that we print, we tell you exactly which filaments we did, and you can purchase our filaments at a discounted price.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we're trying to build like more than a platform for STLs. What we want to be is like this whole ecosystem where you will find stuff for every step of the journey of the maker, right? So we have the STL Academy where we have the
Mhm.
print like a pro method where you learn how to print properly. Um, And then we have the zero to revenue, where we teach you how to be an entrepreneur inside 3D printing. Then we have the STLFLIX itself, that has this huge catalog with new launches every single week. We're always looking to what's happening in the 3D printing space. We're looking on trends that are outside the 3D printing space that perhaps we can bring in. Um, and then we also have the filaments, and we also have the STLFLIX My Store. So the whole idea is that we have this ecosystem that will help, that will aid you on every step that you have of the journey. So there are a few links of that sort of ecosystem that's still a little bit weak, that we need to improve. And there are some that are really strong, like the STLFLIX, the platform itself. In my opinion, is really good. And now we are just evolving the how accurate we can launch the content, how much that content is really going to resonate with the audience. So we're trying to improve more like the quality and the objective of that content. So that's the STLFLIX. The STL Academy, we're bringing more courses in order to keep it more complete in terms of a resource. The STLFLIX My Store is really new, the e-commerce builder, so we're still
Yeah,
evolving
I'm
on that.
looking
So
at
we
it now.
gets really good. And then the filaments as well. Like we're still only with the small catalog of PLA, around 24 colors. So we want to improve like the size of that catalog. We want
Wow.
that solution to be more robust.
$10 a kilo for STLFlix
Yeah,
subscribers. That's
yeah.
wild.
If you buy more than 4 rows, right? We
That's
are able to do the
crazy
bulk
though.
price really low. Yeah,
I see
because
what you're
we're
talking about.
we're global, right? We are in 120 different countries as a
Wow.
service. So when we went to talk with these manufacturers in China for the filament, they were really interested in servicing us. So we were able to get some really good deals out of
That's so cool.
the
And are you
wholesalers.
guys warehousing it there or
We're warehousing in Florida, but we're most likely going to change it because the shipping price is not that great for all locations. This is
yeah.
something that we're also trying to improve. Um,
That's so
and
cool. Wow. It's a lot. I mean, I have access to STLFlix because we're doing a video together. And I didn't know
uh
any of this. I'm gonna be honest with you. I knew about the
I think
pretty
that's one of the
models.
things. I think like we have a lot of like different products and different initiatives, but we are not that good at communicating them as well. This is also
Yeah.
something that we need to improve.
Yeah.
You didn't know about the filaments at all?
Not at all. Not
So
at all.
that's
To
really
be fair, I
bad.
haven't logged in a while because I printed everything I need
Okay.
for the ad spot we're doing, which thank you guys, by the way, for supporting a video that's coming up. Um, explain to me the e-commerce thing. Like you guys have an e-commerce engine that powers people's store so that they don't have to use
Yeah,
Shopify?
exactly. That's what it is.
Whoa.
So
And then it's
if you're a
pre-populated.
commercial if you are a commercial subscriber, we have like this e-commerce builder where you can like change the template. Like our idea is to get closer and closer to Shopify. Obviously, we're still far back because Shopify, they only do
Right.
that. They charge you for that. They've been out like a long time, but you can get like a pretty good e-commerce. You can already integrate that with Stripe. You can integrate that with
That's
I
wild.
forgot the shipping system, Shippo, which is the shipping system that you can
Mm.
integrate with that. So you can calculate shipping prices on your e-commerce, pretty much what everything that Wix does or Shopify does. Um, but
I'm
then you
gonna
can
show on
pull all the
screen
models from our catalog.
some of the catalog here, just so people get an idea of like the style of models. Because someone was asking, someone who missed the first part, like what kind of models and stuff. And you can see there's drops, right? So clearly there's an Easter drop coming up. So all different kinds of Easter eggs. And then before that we had Beyond the Bunnyverse, Storybook Creatures. I gotta print some of those. Forma Home Decor. Man, I need to start opening your emails with all you, no offense, but like
Yeah, but give me an insight. Why you think it would make you open STLFlix more often? I think this is one of the challenges we have.
okay, so you've been very forthcoming with me, so I'll be forthcoming with you. I am a functional print guy. Even if you
Uh-huh.
see like I get the latest, greatest fancy multicolor printer, I'm probably printing functional stuff with it. So a lot of this stuff, and that's why I think the ad spot that we're doing together, I'm going to say, like, if you want to sell 3D prints, this is the way to go because it's off
Uh-huh.
brand for me to print this stuff for myself. I'll print some of it for my kids, but they've got so much of it already. So I think as a like business opportunity, it's super cool. me, I'm not selling 3D prints because I'm based in Israel. Otherwise, I would totally be a commercial subscriber. And yeah, I think if you were asking me as a customer, but I don't think, again, I think your average customer is selling prints. But if you were asking me as a non-commercial customer, I would love to see like more storage solutions, more functional stuff, more brackets holding things,
Nice.
universal mounts, things like that. Like that's my jam, probably.
Awesome. And you think it's still worth it, like to be inside a subscription rather than
Yeah, I think it is.
because like when we think about these things, sometimes we think, well, how can we differentiate from what's free out there within that space? Because that space
Right.
is populated with a lot of very functional, sometimes not that good to print as well models.
Right.
And we're working on exactly that. It's going to
Okay,
be
cool.
like a new line of models that we will be launching soon.
I gotta say
Um,
this Forma home decor, this is like more my vibe, right? Like
this is a
tissue.
collaboration we did
Yeah.
with an outside creator.
I for a while I like to every like I don't know, couple weeks I'll switch it up, but I'll support all kinds of different creators on things and printables and stuff and try to feature
Uh-huh.
their models. One of my goals for 2025 is feature more small designers,
Nice.
both of like projects like, Armored Turtle or Enraged Rabbit and stuff like that, but also of actual designers. So I'll go through and this is like more of the vibe. Like, God, what was the one that I was supporting for a long time? Potential collab for you guys. I don't know if I can see my past memberships though. Charles Regaud on
Oh
printables.
yeah, yeah. I've seen that guy. That guy's
Oh,
really good.
man.
He's more like the hardcore industrial design kind of thing, right?
Yeah, let me show him.
I think I've
Let me
spoken with him before. He's good.
Beautiful work. And your latest collab reminds me of it a lot, which is a good thing. Like, look at this standing planter pot. I mean, you can't see, but you've already spoken to him. Stunning stuff. And he's got uh, 67 models in his club and store. Like, what I love about this is, as you said, it's beautiful stuff that you could sell, but it's also functional, like a functional lamp or a guitar stand or napkin holder. So yeah, I'm glad to hear that you guys are going more in this direction because that's
Yeah,
my wife pretty quickly, like even before I was doing this full time, she was like, "Stop bringing me home tchotchkes. Like we don't have any more room on the bookshelves." And but then I'll bring her like a beautiful watering can, right? And she's like, "Oh, this is
and
so
she loves it.
gorgeous." Yeah.
Yeah, that's what we
Um,
want to do. We're actually
mhm.
like we're building a new team from industrial designers that is going to work on these very functional kind of stuff. What we did at the start, as I said, the STL market was small, so we try to be first with people that were already using the 3D printer, which were the geeks, the nerds,
Yep.
people that wanted this kind of stuff, which is what kind of like where we are as well.
Yeah.
But since 3D printing is becoming more popular and reaching newer audiences, I think it's almost like a shift. Not it's not a shift, but we're going to add that
Yeah.
style of content
I
to
agree.
our platform because it's getting more and more popular within that space that was not there before.
Yeah.
So it's a kind of
Well,
like a
and
new
printers have
audience
gotten
that's
so
going
much
with the
better.
bamboos and
Yeah, printers have gotten bigger and better, and you can print so
yeah,
much more functional, cool stuff like a lampshade that's this big on a home printer. I just got a question. I remember before we hit record, you mentioned that there was like a kerfuffle in a Facebook group, and I said, let's save
yeah,
it and we can clear the air here. But I think this is what Chris is talking about. He said, what are you
I
guys
think
doing to
so.
limit the times your company imposes improper copyright strikes on others' designs? Recent group members have been hit on designs that are not even close. I don't know if that's the same thing, but
Yeah, well, let me tell you the context, right?
sure.
As I said, fighting for piracy is the number one challenge, not only for us, but for the majority of the creators out there that I have spoken with. And our community demands us to be very upfront on taking down the listings with our models that are out there without permission for it, right? So we got this notification from someone on our support chat that this T-Rex holder with claws was ours, and we needed to take it down on Etsy. And sadly, our support the support member from the staff that got that ticket rushed into it and did not check properly, because we do have a very similar model.
Mm,
It's a similar model. I wouldn't say very similar model. Let me rephrase that. But it's a similar model. It's a T-Rex with claws that is a headphone holder. So
got it.
kind of like has the same function, and it's a same idea, same concept. Let's say. Um, that happened that we have designed it 1 year before, but they do not look similar, and we should not have done the
Yeah.
strike. But sadly, that person went on and did the strike on Etsy, and
And they were
Etsy
selling the
suspended it.
file is the problem, not
They're
selling.
selling the file. That
Okay,
designer
not
was
the
selling
print.
his file, so there was
Got
nothing
it.
wrong with that,
Yeah, yeah.
and it was a mistake on our side.
False
So
positive.
what we did is we went on and we talked with Etsy to withdraw the claim. Like right after, I think it was less than 24 hours after. That happened like in the middle of the afternoon, and we did in the next morning. Um, we withdrew the claim, and the model got back online. I think it was like 4 days later or 5 days later.
Mm,
So it took a while to get back online, but we withdrew. We went on the Etsy chat. We talked with everything. And then we changed the process, our internal process of filing claims. Now it's
yeah.
completely different. We get a complaint that comes from us, and it's basically a two-person process that one needs to check and another one needs to check.
Mm,
And there are stores that are fake stores that are just selling a lot of different models from a lot of different creators. Those
right.
stores, if two people check it, and then if it's a fake store, we're going to file the claim. And if it's
Sure.
a designer that we have some doubts on it, it's going to go directly to me or to my business partner, and we
That's
are
cool.
going to make the decision whether we are going to file the claim or not.
That's cool.
But
To
it
me,
was it
if
was
it's
definitely
one
a
false
mistake, which we're very
positive,
sorry
that's
about.
like pretty small, but it sounds like maybe this has happened in the past as well.
What? Sorry.
I said if it's just the one false positive, this sounds like a pretty small occurrence, but it sounds like maybe
It
this has
was.
happened in the
It was.
past.
It was one occurrence, and then, but obviously, that raised a lot of concern. People were saying that we were bullying smaller creators
Oh,
because we
I
were
get it.
using the claims
I get it. Okay,
to,
now it
to seize
makes
the
sense.
competition. But then I
Got
made a
it.
video of the
Okay.
last 6 months of Etsy claims. Like I went live, I showed last 6 months of Etsy claims to show that like
Okay.
all of it were us taking down stores that were illegally selling our files, but they were acting as if we were the big corporation bullying smaller creators.
I get it. They
Uh
thought that you guys were claiming that it was a copy of yours. People didn't realize that it was just okay, I get it. Didn't
yeah,
didn't
yeah,
connect for
exactly.
me. Um, got you. Well, I'm glad it got resolved. And I'm glad that you guys have a
It got
policy in
resolved. It got
place.
resolved with Ivan, which is the designer.
Yeah.
It was obviously a bad mistake, which we are very sorry for. We are also donating 100 kilograms of PLA for that specific community where
No
the
kidding. Wow, that's
the
really
whole
cool of
thing
you.
happened.
Really
Yeah,
cool.
well, and they're going to create toys for the hospital, so it's going to be like a
Ah, cool.
sort of creating some good out of everything, because it generated a lot of buzz.
I was
Uh,
gonna say it must be one of those you had to be there things because to me I'm like okay 4 or 5 days the model was down honest mistake but I guess this is people's livelihood and
no,
the
but
optics aren't good David and Goliath kind
And
of thing so
exactly, it was more like the optics of it that raised a lot of
yeah
suspicion of what we were doing, rather than the actual impact of things. We've talked with Ivan. We resolved everything. He had like more than 100 models available. It was one model that stayed out for 4 days. It was a
okay
popular model of his, but it's back
yeah
online. And I went on Etsy chat. We talked with them. So this is not going to limit his visibility, which was also something that people were worried about, that this
right
was going to limit his visibility. It's not.
perfect
We have Etsy Hunt, which is a tool that we are able to measure like the sales, and we see that the sales of his store are still like within the same level as they were in the weeks before. So nothing is being,
good
no
well I
harm
mean
was
you
caused
guys
other than
clearly
the
care a
sales
lot
that he lost.
about artistry and preserving the rights of artists. So it makes sense that you would stand up for other artists. I want to make sure that I'm not missing people's questions in the chat. Bearded Printer had a really, and by the way, thank you for clearing that up. People are really happy to hear, the other side of the story as well in the chat. Bearded Printer wants to know, as you iterate on designs, what do you do with the excess of prints that end up around the workspace? Do you guys recycle it? How do you deal with all that?
We donate to people here. So,
Donate
well, a lot of
the
it,
prints.
yeah.
Okay,
We have like these boxes and these bags where we donate things.
cool.
Uh, yeah.
I guess you probably don't have a lot of you guys have been doing this for so long. There's probably not a whole lot of prototype revisions that like don't work at all.
Well, there's a lot of failed prints, right?
Yeah.
That's still like something that happens from time to time. Uh, and we're getting better at the prototypes. Like we're getting faster to the good results, but we still iterate quite a bit, especially
Yeah.
like if there's something new. What we are trying to do here now is like to have all the mechanisms and all the articulations on the shelf, so we can kind of like grab and start working from that instead of like recreating
Mm,
things every single time, which is what we used to do for a
yeah.
long time.
That's
But
interesting. Huh, like a library
yeah,
of
we have
how
like
the Hmm.
yeah, we have this team which is the advanced design team that their only objective is to come up with like these new stuff, and once the new stuff is out, uh, that project gets into that library where the core team is able to access and redesign those projects. So
That's
we have
cool.
like clicks, articulation, things that we used on these advanced projects that once they're launched, they become available for the rest of the team to use as well.
That's
And in
pretty
that team, we have
interesting.
people that are more I don't know the word in English, but it's like that person. He's not an engineer, but he's the one that works specifically in 3D modeling for the industry. So
Mm,
we have these type of professionals in that team, together
that's
with a
really
few
cool.
designers.
That's really, really cool. Um,
Yeah, I could perhaps do like a little tour on the office. Am I able to like connect with a
I think you
with my
can,
cell phone
yeah.
here?
If you want, you guys want
Let
to
me
see a
try. Let
tour
me
of the
try.
office? We've got some time. I was gonna say I'm running low on questions. You answered pretty much everything I wanted to know.
I want to see. Let me see if we could get the
Yeah,
tour of
cool.
the
That'd be
office.
fun.
It's
A
messy.
first,
Creative spaces are messy.
what's that? Sorry.
It's going to be messy because creative spaces are messy.
Yeah, yeah. I think we all know that. I have this framed in such a way that you only see a little bit of my mess. But I have
That's
70
good.
square meters of mess just a few blocks away. Man, I gotta
I'm
print some
trying
of
to
this
connect.
stuff. I'm scrolling through now and looking at all the last drops. I mean, I get the emails.
I think I was able to join.
All right, let's see. Here we go. All right, let's add Bruno. I think let's mute one
I'm
of
going to
your
mute.
yeah. I'll just mute that and let's see. I think you have to yeah. Great. All right.
Am I on?
You're
Ah,
echoing though. So you gotta mute some microphone.
but I gotta make. Wait, 1 second. Technical issues.
Hang on. Let's see. Let me get you on this screen. All right.
Using only
Yeah.
my phone.
We still hear the echo, but I think if
Mm.
you move away from the other
Yeah, there it is.
all right.
All right. So in here is the studio. It's messy. We have some prints here that I cannot show you yet. So this is the studio where we record the drops and everything.
Okay.
This is where we take the photos with the images. It's cool that we have. Uh, Look at that. We have designed this thing, which creates like a little. How can I say a highlight for the model?
Yeah, yeah, it's
I
what's it called?
They want me to use the
Mandolini
microphone
clamp.
in here. Yeah.
Yep.
1 second.
That
I'm putting the
that now you're
microphone.
dipping in my world, man.
Yeah. Well, we have a lot of
I see that.
things
Yeah.
to record in here. So this is an alpha cam. We have the setup here for the live streams and all that. And here we have a little graffiti with some of our models. Let me go back in
Cool.
here. Let me close the door from the studio to show you. So yeah, that's the
Very
graffiti.
cool. And
I
where in
really I really
Brazil are
like
you guys
this.
based?
In south of Brazil, it's
Okay.
called Santa Catarina, the name of the state.
Okay.
All right. So now in here we have, this is a space that we are renovating. So it's going to be another office. There, this is where HR and the people from finance stay. This is my business partner's room. This is my room. Go ahead. You okay? Nice. He's going to record for me. All right. So in here we have the design team. Uh, so let me go in. In here, this is the farm only for the design team. So this is where they try out the stuff.
Cool. A lot of
Uh,
Creality printers.
a lot of Creality printers. This is the rest of the team. Some people are working from home.
Wow, look at
Here we
all the
have
prints everywhere.
the releases that we are going to be doing in the next weeks or so. Don't show much that you'll be please. Spoilers. This is the model team. This is they are the ones who check the models are printing correctly. They print everything, assemble everything. They paint as well. They're very talented at painting. And this is the farm. This is the main farm. This is the farm where we manufacture the actual models.
Cool.
So over here, you're let me show. There's the filament stock as well. This is a part of the filament stock. And these are all
Cool.
STL filaments. So the filaments that we use in here are the ones that are available for people to buy. This is the resin room. We're not doing much resin. It's a complete mess.
Yeah,
But
mine
it's the
looks the
resin.
same.
And as you can see, we have like models everywhere.
Yeah.
Like literally everywhere. All right. So moving on. We have two Brazilian influencers in house that they create content in Portuguese. This is one of them.
Cool.
Hello, Co-Trim 13D. Nice to meet you. If you want to see some Brazilian 3D printing content, this is his room. So
So cool.
they keep trying different stuff. They create content with 3D printing. So it's not necessarily not 100% related to STLFLIX, but driven towards what we had at STL Academy, STLFLIX as well. So they
Very
try
cool.
different stuff. This is Hugo's room. He's also a content creator here.
Super cool.
Yeah, right now we're like trying a few different stuff. We're comparing like a lot of different multicolor systems. So we have the MMU from Prusa, and we have a co-print
Co-print.
as well that just arrived. Yeah, we were assembling it last week.
This is awesome.
Moving on. This is the social media room. So they are the ones who work with social media. They create content. Carol is people that are from our community have seen Carol before.
Yep.
And this is where we have the marketing team, the customer support team. They are the ones answering on the chat. And over there, the last row of tables, we have the video team.
Oh my
We have
gosh, look at the walls. Like
with
every
all the tech.
model ever.
Yeah, we have a lot of models on the walls. And it was Carnival in Brazil, so we had these things on the walls as well.
Super cool. It really gives people a feel for just how many models you guys have put out and designed.
Yeah.
This is
So this
wild,
is a
man.
little bit of
Really
our
cool.
space.
Really, really cool. Thank you for the tour. That is awesome.
It was the first time we did a tour like
It's the
live
first time we've ever had a tour on the
on the
show.
podcast.
Yeah, really cool,
Nice.
man. All right, let's see. Let me get this camera, this camera. Well,
Let me go
awesome.
back to the studio. So
Did
we
you
can
guys
wrap it up.
spot me?
All right. So should I get back here to
Either way, yeah.
the
I'm like doing all the camera switching here.
All right, so you can mute that one, Jubilu, please.
Super cool, man. Really, really cool. Here, I can take that one out. There we go. Awesome. Thanks for the
Yeah,
tour,
I'm
man.
back.
So, that brings us to an hour. Obviously, we have a link in the description to STLFLIX, and that's, I guess, where people go to find all the things, STL Academy and all the models. Anywhere else you'd like people to check out?
Sorry, because I was looking at the comments here. I got lost.
I said we have a link in the description. Is there anywhere else we should send people to check out, engage with you guys, follow you guys on any of the socials?
Yeah, you can go to the link to if you want to become a subscriber at STLFlix. But we also we are active on Instagram, on TikTok as well. These are the social medias where we are more active about, where we post about our stuff, some behind the scenes as well. We want to do some more behind the scenes content. So if you guys look, I think it's gonna get more interesting in the next couple of months. So the Instagram is STLFlix underline, because the STLFlix was already taken when I went to get it on Instagram. And on TikTok, I think it's just STLFlix. Well, if you look for STLFlix in any search bar on any social media, I think you're going to find us. And we also have our Facebook community that if you want to,
Ah,
even if you're not a
yes.
subscriber, if you want to be there, um, to see what the subscribers are doing, what they're talking about us, you can also join that.
Very cool.
And we have a
Bruno,
Discord channel.
awesome. Thank you, my friend. This has been a real blast. I hope you'll come on in the future and we can chat about what's next and all the cool stuff that you guys are building.
Whenever you want to have me, I'm available.
Awesome, man. This has been a real pleasure. And thanks to everyone who tuned in live. And I think our outro isn't working. So I will just take us out and we
All
can
right.
debrief after. All right. Thanks, everyone, for tuning in.